Welcome back, everybody, to a sunny episode of Cast to the Past, the podcast where best friends get together to talk about old games in a new light. I'm Josh.
And I'm Tom, and oh man, it's not just sunny. Oh, I gotta say, it's a bright, beautiful tropical paradise out there. Because Josh, what are we talking about this week?
Today we are talking about Mario Sunshine.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah. Another in our installment of ongoing user request episodes from our Extra Life charity donations. So big thanks to Ryan, aka Hollywood, for requesting this Mario title, which kind of seemingly has not been talked about in a while, or at least it wasn't until last year. So we're going to get into it today.
Yeah, I would say this is probably one of the most forgotten ones of the Mario 3D games. It's the one that people talk about the least amount. And when they do, they usually poo-poo on the game, saying, it's just not Mario 64, bro. It's not Mario Galaxy, bro. And I mean, they're saying bro a lot because it's a game that's on the beach, so you got a lot of surfers that talk about this game. You know what I mean?
Sure, yes. Everybody who enjoys this game have deep tans and catch some sick rips.
They all look like a low and Dugtrio.
Exactly. Wavy locks.
Yeah.
Perfect analogy. All right, so Josh, I just want to ask a question before we get into the nitty-gritty. I want to ask, what's your personal history with Super Mario Sunshine? I want to get this out of the way up front.
Yeah, so let's start a long time ago, right? I had a GameCube, got a GameCube for Christmas one year, never got a memory card with it. And I was like, great. So I can't
useless.
really, I couldn't play really any games. I mean, I had to, but it was like playing a game on an NES. I just had to start from the beginning every time.
It was like Returnal. No autosave.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, I was complaining the entire time. There was no autosave features. But it wasn't until a couple of years after it released, like towards the tail end of the GameCube era, where I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the Mario game for this console just to see how it was. And I remember playing it and I was like, it's kind of like Mario 64. I wasn't really like sold on it, but like the flood thing was pretty cool. And I played it for a little bit and then returned it back to the store. It was rented. I didn't like buy the game from like a Walmart and take it back to Walmart. That's illegal.
I mean, no, they would have given you the money. They don't care. They just would have thrown it into a pile of junk in the back.
So what's your history with it, Tom?
Well, Josh, I actually have a funny story of how I managed to end up getting Super Mario Sunshine. Okay. So when this game came out in 2002, I cannot say I was entirely hyped for it. I just kind of had these vibes of, I don't know if I'm into this.
Not many people did.
Yeah, it was around a time in my life where you kind of sadly, forcibly had to stop liking kiddie stuff if you wanted to be cool, and I didn't have any real interest in it. And then basically the story of me getting Mario Sunshine is a hilarious scenario of chance. So my younger sister, Katie, who's been mentioned on the show before, we had this little like back and forth battle system anytime we were going on rides with our parents where we would fight each other for the right to sit in the front seat, and I would usually win. And on one occasion, we were going to the Susquehanna Valley Mall, rest in peace, and we stopped at the KFC before the mall to get some, delicious finger-licking chicken. Mm-hmm. And after we ate at KFC, Katie demanded the front seat, and my mom gave it to her on the grounds that I had the front seat to KFC. So she was like, yeah, it's only fair. The mall's 2 minutes away. Katie, if you want, you can sit in the front seat. Because she was probably a burnt-out mom who was sick of her kids fighting over stupid shit. So I sat in the back seat, and I was pissed, and I was like, this is bullshit. So we get to the mall, and I open the back door, and I look on the ground, and right on the pavement in front of the ground in the back door was $40. Two $20 bills rolled up, like that somebody dropped. And I scooped it up, and it was like, oh, yeah. And Katie was shocked and pissed and angry because if she had just sat in the back seat, she could have made a fresh 40. But I had that $40 combined with some money that I had in my wallet already. So we're walking around the mall. I go to GameStop and I'm just like, you know what? I got free money. I'm going to buy this Mario game. And I bought it, and I ended up playing the crap out of it that summer/fall. And that's the story of how Mario Sunshine came into my possession. So, Super Mario Sunshine was released on the Nintendo GameCube in North America on August 26, 2002. So yeah, this would have been like a right before you go back to school kind of game, which you'd imagine, well, where's the fun in that? I wanted to play this all summer. And it has been ported only once to the Nintendo Switch last year in 2020, packaged within Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Josh, I imagine that's the version you played for this episode?
Yes, it was.
Same for me. So this was developed by Nintendo EAD, and what that stands for is Entertainment Analysis and Development. At the time, in 2002, it was the largest software development division within Nintendo that handled a huge chunk of the biggest games of the era, including Wind Waker, Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing. And it doesn't exist anymore because it's been spun off within the history of Nintendo's development process, but that's a story for another day. And published by Nintendo? I think that's the company. Yeah, that's who the publisher was.
Is that Nintendo?
Oh, yeah, the Nintendo tape people. Yes.
Okay.
Right. So tail end of the summer, a very curious release date. It came out in July in Japan, for what it's worth, but over in America, we didn't get it until summer was gone.
This is a pretty big jump from Mario 64. This, the world feels a little bit more lived in. The idea and mindset of this game itself is completely unlike anything that we've seen before of Mario. Like full-fledged voice acting? What?
Yep, some of it good. Question.
Okay, wait. Is it good for 2002 or is it good for 2021?
Well, it can be two things, and that
because listen, we had low expectations so many years ago, 19 years ago.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just judging this by my level of hype, and yeah, I wasn't too excited for this, but when I got it, I did enjoy it. And so, folks, the reason I put the personal histories first is because I wanted to kind of feel out Josh's mood. Mm-hmm. So if you're a longtime fan, you'll know that this is the second installment in our 3D Mario saga, which was the episode 1, the Phantom Menace of which was Josh playing Super Mario 64 for the first time, 32 years of age, and dunking on it, calling it one of the most overrated games, the most overhyped games ever, a fossil that needs to be just thrown out, and it was quite a dramatic episode. And this being the sequel, like, I don't think this actually ever would have happened as a sequel episode if one of our great listeners hadn't requested it, but we're here. And so that's why I'm actually surprised, Josh, you didn't rush immediately into this with anger. Mm-hmm. So I like how you brought up development. I do want to talk about the development history of this game because I think it's really fascinating. But I'm not asking for if you'd recommend this game. Just give me just some general thoughts about this.
I know
Yeah.
Everyone watching and everyone listening is waiting for it. Right? We all know. If you're
holding it back for a reason, or maybe you feel differently. All right, maybe you have to wait. Yeah,
this game is the second best 3D Mario game.
After?
Super Mario 3D World.
Oof. Big oof. That's surprising. Because I re-listened to our Mario 64 episode earlier today to prepare for this showdown.
Okay.
And you stated in that episode that you thought the only good 2 3D Mario games were 3D World and Odyssey. So how does this now rank above Odyssey? How dare you?
So I think I like the worlds in this game more than I did in Odyssey. Mm-hmm. Odyssey was kind of, it tried to be open world, but not really open world, where each world of this, Delfino Plaza is an amazing hub. It is a great hub.
I won't deny that.
It
I won't
is
deny
it is wonderful. The music just hits, and it's just like it feels like a vacation. I was like, you know what? I could relax here. Sit, pull out a lawn chair, relax on the beach with a coconut in my hand, and doon 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 doon. Like I could just hang out, right?
Oh, hold on. If you're gonna jam out, I gotta.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Doon 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 doon.
I'm dancing like one of the Peanuts.
But that's the thing. Like I think I had more fun being in this world than I did in Odyssey. We know how I feel about Cappy. I know it's blasphemous. I'm not a huge fan of Cappy. I didn't
just hate Joy. Why do you? What did Cappy do to you?
You put Cappy versus the Flood, and I'm not talking about the Flood from Halo. I'm talking about the Flood in
the
Sunshine.
Flood.
The Flood.
Yeah.
I think the Flood is a better, more enjoyable mechanic to use than Cappy was.
I got you.
Because Cappy, at one point in time, to get some of the stars, you're just mashing the buttons as much as possible to throw them, to bounce off of them, to throw them again, to jump off of them again. And the Flood is like, no, you just need to make sure you have a whole bunch of water in it, and you can become a rocket ship if you want.
I think that Cappy is more intriguing in terms of keeping Mario's momentum going, but the Flood offers a larger combination of experimenting with, jumping mechanics, movement mechanics, like switching back and forth between the nozzles as you bounce off of the environment. So I will say that Flood does provide more options, and that is pretty fun. So there's that. But, okay, so we have that on the table. I'm coming into this with a friendlier Josh than last time, which is good. So, let me tell you some stories about how this game got made. This game, it's interesting. This is not just a very big change of pace for Mario as a franchise, as you said, but it's basically the ascension of someone who's now, a Nintendo legend. But at the time, they were coming off a 10-year apprenticeship under Shigeru Miyamoto, and that person is Yoshiaki Koizumi. So, this was the first game that they ever directed. And this was basically off of years of goodwill from being Mr. Miyamoto's protege, if you will. They did a lot of art design across Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and other titles. And they were like, you know what? This kid's got moxie. Let's give him a game. Let's give him the next Mario, the sequel to Mario 64, one of the biggest games in our company's history, one of the most demanded sequels ever. They were like, let's have him. So Koizumi stated, I got this out of an interview from Rolling Stone, most interestingly, but I've seen this quoted in some other articles, that Koizumi was one of the first people to get their hands on a Nintendo GameCube, a functional one, and when they were using the controller, you remember the analog shoulder buttons of the GameCube?
Yeah.
How they had the tension and the levels of clickability? Well, Koizumi mentioned that when they felt that for the first time, it reminded them of a water pistol, a squirt gun, how you have to apply pressure. And that was kind of the instant idea. It was, what if we did Mario with a squirt gun? And the squirt gun was some kind of mechanic that would play into everything. And this water pistol idea kind of started forming the rest of it. They were like, if he's going to use water, what's the setting? What's the environment? How does water affect Mario's ability to move and jump? How does water affect enemies and everything? So, somewhat classic style of figure out what Mario's going to do and then develop around that. But this is where things branch off. This is where Sunshine is a little bit of an oddity. So, in comes designer Satomi Asakawa, who immediately starts designing specific world stuff that we've all come to love, and as you, Josh, praised as being like so inviting, so lived in. Satomi designed the Piantas, the kind of gloopy, round inhabitants of the island, the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And also being inspired by coastal towns in France and Italy, that's where they started dreaming up Isle Delfino and everything that populated it.
You can definitely see it.
Yeah, it's a dolphin-shaped island because the GameCube's code name was the Dolphin, and Koizaki even made a clay model that he kept on his desk of the island so that they could reference everything. So this is an example of a Mario game where the tone and the world were kind of very quickly thought up and set in stone. It was a tropical vacation in a sunshine ocean paradise with these unique island inhabitants, but they still weren't done figuring out Mario's movement. And that's very different to 64 and Odyssey, just as examples, where they spent everything on movement first and then built the world around that, And that's going to come back in some, maybe not some great ways. And then the last thing I do want to mention is developed was rushed. This probably was going to come out later than it did, but GameCube sales were sagging in its first year. Nintendo felt it didn't really have a strong first-party title. Luigi's Mansion just didn't do it. Smash Brothers wasn't what Smash Brothers would become, I suppose. They needed something. And so Mario Sunshine was kind of pushed along. A lot of content was cut in terms of levels, extra nozzles for the flood, and other kind of side activities. And then that's where we ended up with the game that we got in August 2002.
Do you know how long it was rushed? Like how many months it took to make it?
Well, I don't remember. I did not find in my research how soon after development of Mario 64 this began. But if you think about it, there was Super Mario 64, and then for a long time they were trying to make some kind of sequel to it with the Nintendo 64 disk drive system. And then, do you remember the Super Mario 128 demo from Space World 2001?
Yep.
They were trying to make that the basis of a game for a very long time. Some kind of multiple copies of Mario, etc., and they couldn't get that to work. Like, Sunshine came as an inspiration much later. So that's why I think this really wasn't in development for as long as some other games were, because the idea popped up so much later.
Interesting. One thing I want to talk about, though, this game introduced us to a new Mario character that is reoccurring through a lot of the franchise now, and that was good old Bowser Jr.
So Bowser Jr. is the motivating incident in this story. Josh, what happens? Can you take us through like the intro to this game?
Yeah, so Princess Peach and Mario are going on vacation, flying in a plane. Apparently they left Luigi at home to like take care of like the castle and stuff like that while they were on vacation, but Luigi was like, "No, I got a ticket to go to a mansion."
That's right. Yeah, he had a fixer-upper to deal with, so.
So, I mean, this whole thing is canon right now in the GameCube universe. So, they arrive on the island, and this island has been vandalized. There's graffiti everywhere, but it's like special graffiti. It's like tie-dye graffiti that's moving. And sometimes this graffiti attacks people. So Mario finds the flood, who I believe is given to you. It's given to you by the same person who gave the Luigi's Mansion stuff, right?
It is made by the same inventor, yes, Professor Egad, but Mario just basically finds it on the airstrip. It's like Egad himself does not appear in this game.
Okay. I was saying, I thought it was canon, though, that it was the same person who created that. Mario starts kind of getting rid of some of the graffiti all over the place, and the inhabitants of Delfino Plaza suspect you to be the person who is actually ruining everything. But how
could that be?
How?
Why?
Right?
Yeah.
What? It doesn't make sense. We just landed. They literally just saw us on the plane, and no one wants to vouch for us for just being on the plane.
Nope.
This stuff has been going on for weeks now, and you're looking around and it's like, oh, it's that guy who just got off at a plane. Like, we've never seen him here before. Yeah, we've never seen
no TSA.
But it's definitely him. Even though the person who's doing this...
9/11 never happened in the Mario universe because they don't screen people on planes. They just go, yeah.
Right. So you get thrown in jail. Mario is the bad guy. And thus, we have to go and clean up the entire island because it's our fault that the world's like this. And nobody is vouching for us. Like, they're just like, oh, it must be you. Like, after all the good that he's done in, 9-10 games leading up to this? No, he's definitely the dick. He's the one that's destroying everything.
Well, the reason that nobody on Isle Delfino will listen to like Princess Peach is because she represents the monarchy, and Isle Delfino is a democratic republic. You know, they have general elections. They don't believe in the divine
She
right
has
for
no
kings and queens.
jurisdiction here.
Exactly. So she's like, "Hey, it wasn't him," and they were like, "Shut up, colonizer."
Like when Queen Amidala went to Tatooine.
Exactly.
The
Powerless.
Republic credits mean nothing here.
Oh, come on. You should say it in the real voice.
Republic critics.
There we go. Papa Watto.
Papa Watto.
So yeah. So that is the inciting incident. You have to clear the graffiti while you clear your name, and in doing so, you venture all across Isle Delfino, which, as Josh mentioned at the top, I would like to just praise, has this amazing unified world where the central hub is Delfino Plaza, the kind of capital city of the island, and it's this beautiful cobblestone, you know, just kind of coastal city that you can run around in. You can explore the frickin' sewer systems. You can go into certain buildings and find challenges or things like that. And then each of the island's other areas, which make complete sense in the context of an island resort, are all connected. There is an amusement park, there is a seaside hotel, there are local villages where the island's native population lives. It all bleeds together so perfectly. And Josh, as you said, it's such a great lived-in world that's fun to explore because it's just so unified.
So one thing I will give a lot of credit to, though, right? We talk about it being a great world. We talk about it feeling lived in, right? When you're on certain islands and certain areas, right, you can see the other ones in the distance.
Yeah.
So no matter where you're at, it's like you are there. Like you are like, oh, there's what? Pina Park, right? Pina Park? Oh, hey, there's
I call it Pina, yeah.
What? Gelato Bridge Beach. Sorry. Oh, there's Gelato Beach, right? Like I mean, you can see all of that stuff wherever you're at. And it's so awesome because it makes it feel like the map and the world is huge to this game.
So, Josh, how do you explore this world? Let's talk to me about the gameplay.
So the Flood is a cool backpack water jet thing that Mario has on that has several different features to it. You know, you can use it as like an actual spray cannon type thing where you can put out, you know, clean up stuff like dirt and gunk and graffiti. You can use it to kind of give yourself like an extra jettison so like you can like blast off forwards. It can turn into a kind of like a rocket ship where you can get much higher as well. Or you can use it to hover, which is probably my favorite feature of the Flood.
Yeah, the double nozzle off the back that allows you to, as you said, like, yeah, you basically helicopter functioning. You get a little bit of vertical lift for a time because it kind of loses.
Yep.
You get the initial
water
burst. Yes, because you have the water tank that you have to keep filled. So that is what's interesting about it. I think it's what keeps the game from being broken by this mechanic. You know, it never gets overpowered, which is good. So there's that. And as you did mention, it's a lot of traditional 3D Mario platforming as we've come to know from the previous game, Mario 64. I think the biggest crime this game commits is that they took out the long jump. Rest in peace. It would come back.
That is something that everybody talks about hating, but like I feel like you could break the game a lot with having the long jump and the Flood at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, do the long jump and then do the hover, and then it's one of those things that like you get rid of one thing to gain four more.
Okay, that's fair. But what I will say is it really hurts in certain sections of this game.
When you don't have the Flood?
Yes, because besides everything we just mentioned about the island, sometimes you will get thrown into these secret worlds, and they're basically big voids that are filled with these linear challenge levels. No Flood. You've got to navigate them just with Mario's jumping skills. And they are arguably, for me, the toughest part of this game.
And they are my favorite part of this game. Which is completely... It's so funny, though. Like, that's the part that feels the most traditional Mario to me. And that's why I like those. You know, it's the same thing in Odyssey. right? Those parts where you turn into 8-bit Mario and you do it. Like those are some of my favorite parts of the whole game.
Well, Josh, this is where I want to jump in with something that your mind might be blown, because in our Super Mario 64 episode, you talked about Mario's movement not feeling polished, Mario feeling too slippery, and it was upon playing this game in 2020 on the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection that I was shook and angered by the amount of basically slipperiness and what I'm going to call collision detection issues within this game. It happens a lot in the game, but it happened the most in the areas where they take the fluid away from you. Mm-hmm. So I have the clips saved on my Switch, because every time something happened, I angrily hit the record media button, and I'll probably be putting these up right now. But there was so many moments, especially in these challenge levels, where I found Mario would either kind of, he had like an extra bit of a bounce when he landed. Like he would hit, but kind of like like, you know, like a skipping stone on water.
I was gonna say like a skipping stone.
Yeah, and it would cause me to bounce right off the edge of something that I thought I had perfectly timed a landing onto, and I'd be like, WTF. And furthermore, there was other moments where I had Mario like clipping through obstacles or clipping through parts of the levels. In Peanut Park, there's one that like I immediately hit save this clip on the Switch, because you know the pirate ships where you have to be very careful how you stand as they swing to hold your position. I was standing on the mast while the pirate ships were straight back, and Mario just fell right through the ship. He clipped right through it, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And these are all kind of things I'll call polish problems that I wonder if it comes down to how you mentioned at the top, the rushed development of this game. I had a couple other instances, specifically Yoshi getting stuck in parts of the environment or stuck on enemies, and then I couldn't get back on Yoshi, which is very annoying. But what about you? Did you experience anything in the gameplay that frustrated you?
I mean, Mario's movement still definitely frustrated me. It
hasn't won you over?
No, it still hasn't, and that's just in 3D Mario game. Even in 3D World, he's still slippery to me. You know, I just like the gameplay style of 3D World the most, and this, you know, it felt good at times, and I think what saved it a lot for me is being able to use the flute, because if I was falling, if I was messing up or anything like that, I had that almost as a crutch, or some sort of way to back me up, like, oh crap, like course correct really quick, like, you know, oh, I'm falling, we'll hit the flood thing really quick so I can hover a little bit so I can regain my, you know, balance or composure or whatnot. I mean, it felt the same to me, and for it, like you said at the beginning, it being rushed, it doesn't really seem to me like it felt that way. It felt like, yeah, some of the level designs felt a little confusing and just didn't make sense a little bit to me, because it's like, why would you put this here? Why would you do this particular way? And I feel like if they had more time, it wouldn't be as compact as some things are. I think the world that you go to, with the construction site and stuff, I feel like it's a lot of that when you're up on top of the rafters.
That's Rico Harbor.
Yeah, you're walking on the rafters. Like that part there was getting a little annoying, because it's like the way that it was laid out just was very frustrating, and then you fall into the little pool thing underneath it, or you fall into the crates, and it's like, oh, just space it out just a little bit more, make it a little bit more wider, so I don't need to worry about doing the Assassin's Creed balancing act on anything that I'm doing. Because when I play these games, I want to fly, I want to move, I want to run as fast as possible, and that's, you know, that's something I've learned from playing all the 2D Mario games. You just hold the button in and run. You don't slow down. You don't need. It's like telling Sonic just to walk in his games. It doesn't make sense.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing to note, is that a large degree of the appeal of Mario is movement. You know, every new game, it's like, what is the new creative way they're going to think of to, you know, make moving with Mario fun. In Super Mario 64, just for me, it was to be able to move wherever I wanted. For Sunshine, it's moving in new ways in midair or on the ground with the flute. Galaxy, it's moving in anti-gravity. Odyssey, it's moving through other enemies. And 3D World, it's moving in the cat suit, just for example.
Cat suit, or the multiplying thing, right?
The cherries. Yeah. Oh, the chair again. So yeah, Mario games are at their best when they are really pushing the boundaries of how you control Mario. And this one did that, but I would say the collision problems and a couple of the other just lack of polish are just one of the things that prevent me from saying this is the best. But I don't want to get to that just yet. I want to ask you a few other questions. Mm-hmm. In our Mario 64 episode, you critiqued the fact that, it's 1 star at a time and you're instantly kicked out. This game does that again. You're collecting the shines to restore the shine shrine, the center of the island. So you go into a world, you have to complete an objective to get one of these shine sprites. Now, the two things that are different, one that I think you specifically probably liked. First of all, in Super Mario Sunshine, when you enter a world, they kind of play a little bit of an objective cutscene, if you will. In Super Mario 64, you compared it to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, how when you enter a world, they'll kind of just briefly show you the areas where the objectives are. And I think this game did that. You start at Rico Harbor and it'll say, defeat the enemy, and the camera zooms to where the enemy is. So it's like, hey, just this is where you got to go. Did you like that?
Yes. Going back to Super Mario 64, if you didn't know by reading a book or reading a magazine or going online, no one would know where you would need to use the cannon to knock off the corner of the one wall, right? There's nothing that would ever explain. It just says, a chip off the old block or whatever it's called or something like that. Like, no one would know, get in the cannon, aim up, and aim for the side of this one wall. Like,
I know what you're referring to. It's Swamp's Fortress. I don't remember what the star level is called, but
that's
I know
Castlevania 2 problems of being able to tell you what something is. But anyway, yes, I did enjoy that.
I would say that, yes, to a degree that is frustrating, but to another degree, that's part of that game encouraging you to experiment, get in the cannon and fire yourself at everything you see, and who knows what could happen. Whereas in this, it's a little more, it's basically, are you playing with Legos by building them exactly as the instruction book says, or are you playing with Legos by diving into a tub and building whatever you want? And there's nothing wrong with either of those. However you like to play with Legos, that's fantastic. I'm sorry, Lego. There's no S at the end. I learned that from that reality show, the really good reality show that I hope comes back.
So I want to talk about the other part, though, right? So yeah, I like that version. However, the other side of the things, still kicking you back out once you collect one of the shrines. Yeah. Still dumb, still stupid. However, it plays perfectly in one of them, where you have to go and fight Piranha Pete, right? Is it Piranha Pete?
Petey Piranha, and that's Bianco Hills. Yeah.
Right? So you have to fight him twice. That one would be difficult to do multiple times, unless you split up the boss fight and make the first part a little bit more easier, just the traditional hit him 3 times, get him on the way, and then he'll move to another area, right? And then do the more complex fight. That would have worked. However, they decided to do what they did. The only reason that they do this is to increase the longevity of the gameplay. That's all it's for.
I'm going to say, here's the thing. I agree with you, because here's another difference from 64, and it's one that I really disliked. And I'm not the first person to comment on this, obviously. People have noted it over the years. But Super Mario Sunshine took away something that Mario 64 did really well, is just that in Mario 64, you can drop into a level and you can go for the star that's available, but some other stars spawn within the same setup.
Correct.
And you can go for them. In Cool Cool Mountain, the first one is Race the Penguin, but you can go all the way down to the bottom of the mountain and get around to the ledge where Wall Kicks Will Work is contained and get that star. And that's like the 4th or 5th star. There's freedom in that. But in Sunshine, every shine has to be collected in order, 1 to 7 within each world. Bianco Hills, you can't do the second shine until you got the first one, because it won't even load it. It doesn't exist.
Yep.
And the best critique of this is Donkey from his Super Mario Sunshine video, where he noted, like, if you get stuck on a star that you hate or that it's too frustrating, it doesn't matter. You can't go any further in a level. You can't even unlock the final area where Bowser is until you have to get the first 7 stars of each level. So 49 stars. I keep calling them stars. They're shines. They're basically stars.
They are
what
stars.
I'm saying
They're
is,
stars.
Yeah.
With an extra
stars.
point.
Exactly. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, did you have a problem with that?
Yeah. That
Okay.
was. I didn't like that there wasn't freedom in an open world Mario game. There wasn't freedom. You had to do it their way. And it's the same thing as, we are Nintendo. We're gonna give you what you want, but like it's the Nintendo way. They're going
We just
to
need
give
to make
us
that merch at this
Oh
point.
my God.
How many times you say it? We just got to make it merch.
It's so true though. We're gonna give you what you want.
Yeah.
However,
Before we get into this game's legacy, I just want to ask you a couple like kind of lightning round questions.
uh-oh.
So, best levels in the game.
I like Peanut Park.
Okay. Yep. However you pronounce it. Was that the only one you can say you enjoyed?
I really like that one. Just the hub world. I think Delfino Plaza. Those are just my 2 favorite ones that just kind of get lost in and just constantly keep exploring.
I agree with you 100% on Peanut Park and Delfino Plaza. They are fantastic. I also liked Serena Beach / Hotel Delfino. I thought that
That's
while
the
keeping
sunset
the
one,
tropical,
right?
Yeah, while keeping the tropical theme down, it was a brilliant way to get a horror-based world, with ghosts and everything and spooky vibes into this, while still sticking within the tropical paradise theme. And I was like, good stuff. Good stuff. Worst level. Mine is Mount Corona, which is the final
Of course
volcano,
you hate it, right?
Because it ruined my life last November. Damn you, Corona.
And it made mine so much better.
There's rumors that this was actually supposed to be a full world with multiple shines, but as it exists in the game, it's this big long stretch of lava that you have to navigate by getting on a sailboat or a rowboat, excuse me, and using the nozzle to like steer the boat around, and you have to dodge obstacles and make sure you don't run out of water, and it's so frustrating and just like it's something in our Mario 64 episode, I noted that I felt the last 2 levels of that game, Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Cruise, were such a sharp curve from everything that had happened beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, any final levels of a game, you have to be at, like, your highest skill level because you've been playing for so long. But those, in the Mario 64 example, it's like those were so radically different from anything that came before that I was just like, wow, this is a little jarring. And Mount Corona is the same thing. It's so just restrictive. Anything can kill you. You can get one-hit KO'd at any moment, and it's so intense. And then just on top of that, the final Bowser fight is anticlimactic and how easy it is. Like, I had absolutely no challenge in it. What about you, Josh? Any opinions on worst levels?
Corona Mountain, not the best. I didn't have as much problems or frustrations with it. I think Noki Bay and Rico Harbor were probably my 2 least favorite ones. Noki Bay, I wasn't a huge fan of that boss fight. Did the teeth in there. And I already expressed my frustrations with Rico Harbor. Just that world being a little bit too compact, not being able to have as much freedom of movement to where it felt good. It didn't feel Mario-like in there.
And so the final thing is one of this game's most meme-worthy, one of its most controversial maybe moments is the reveal that the person behind sabotaging the island is Bowser Jr. And Bowser Jr. is sabotaging the island because Bowser Jr. has been told by his dad that Princess Peach is his biological mother, and he's trying to get Mario sent to jail so that he can be back with her. And there's this iconic cutscene where, we find out that Bowser Jr. is the enemy, and he goes, "Leave Mama Peach alone! Get away from her!" When you saw that for the first time, how did you feel about that?
I was like, what?
She banging Bowser?
Yeah, or where's Bowsette, right?
Now, as we know, in the end credits, it's not true. Bowser just straight up admits that he's been lying to his son.
But Like, why?
What else does he lie to his son about? That's an abusive parental relationship. What if a parental figure, Josh, lied to you
Oh,
so
you're just
hard?
saying in general, what else?
Yeah. Like what if a parental figure, Josh, lied to you so hard that you committed crimes based off those lies, and then they were like, "Whoa, Josh! Oh, actually,
what show was it? Was it How I Met Your Mother, where Barney's mom kept telling Barney's
mom told him his whole life that Bob Barker was his dad.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't admit to him that he was the product of a one-night stand.
Right.
And yeah, that was a running thing throughout the show. I guess Bowser Jr.'s mom just must be like really unimpressive or really embarrassing, because Bowser Jr.'s like, well, I can't let him know that that's his mom.
I mean, Bowser's a lizard, so Bowser Jr. came from an egg.
Right.
So how does he know?
But who laid that egg?
Who laid the egg? There you go, guys. Let us know in the comments who you think left the Bowser Jr. egg.
So, Josh, this game's legacy, boy, does it have one. So, it was released to, I would mostly say, critical acclaim, a lot of 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
But there were some critics who just right out the gate were kind of poo-pooing it.
Unfortunately, in 2002, he hit a speed bump in Super Mario Sunshine. Unlike most of his titles, this one lacked polish and introduced an obnoxious add-on, a talking backpack. God, this game had problems.
The game's lifetime sales were far below Nintendo's expectations. This had a lifetime sale of around 8.5 million, and Nintendo was like, no, not good enough. So that tells you something. It tells me more about how much Super Mario 64 must have sold. That 8.5 million copies is just not good enough.
And the weird thing is, the Wii came out in 2006, right?
2006, yeah, November.
So this had 4 more years after that, right? 4 more years, not counting, though, that the Wii originally could play GameCube games. So technically, you got maybe 8 to almost 10 years left of this run of this game. And it's, that's...
Well, you had November 2007 as the release of Mario Galaxy. So on its own, Sunshine had 5 years alone as the 3D Mario. And apparently, like I agree with what you're saying. 5 years, Mario 64 to Sunshine, that's 6. And Sunshine apparently just couldn't make that big of an impact.
So, I mean, if you think about the GameCube games, right? Let's look at the top 5 GameCube games of all time.
Hit me. What do you got?
Luigi's Mansion at 3.03 million. Wind Waker at 4.43 million. Sunshine at 6.28 million. Number 2, Mario Kart Double Dash at 6.96 million, and Super Smash Bros. Finishing number 1 for the GameCube at 7.41 million units.
Man, none of them could crack 10. That is depressing.
Which is so weird, bad, because like the GameCube is an amazing console. The GameCube is great. It's probably one of my favorite consoles of all time. But
GameCube was fantastic, and it had great games. All 5 of those games you mentioned are very good to amazing.
God, the top 10 is amazing. Like the top 10 GameCube games is like an all-star set.
Just tell me 6 through 10.
6 through 10? Animal Crossing, Mario Party 4, Metroid Prime, which are Mario Party 4 and Metroid Prime are tied at 7. They both sold 2 million copies each. Mario Party 7 and Pokemon Coliseum.
Wow. And those must have been in the ones, right? The 1 million copies?
Pokemon Coliseum, 1.8 million.
Wow.
So 1.80 million. So, you know what I mean? Like
it's a bummer. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
You have to wonder. You have to legitimately wonder. I don't mean this as a joke. If they had put a DVD player in the GameCube, would it have sold better?
You know, this just proves that Star Fox Adventure, number 11, outbeat number 14, which is Resident Evil 4, because once again, Resident Evil 4 can't even crack the top 10, guys.
So Mario Sunshine, we're talking a little bit more about how it failed to meet expectations. This is a rare game for Nintendo, because Nintendo very rarely will acknowledge or openly discuss failures. They ignore it, or they bottle it and move along. But Sunshine is a game that they have openly said yeah, we didn't make the best product we could have. Shigeru Miyamoto has been directly quoted as saying we should have designed that game differently. And they were all kind of bummed out by how well it didn't do. But there were some good things that came out of it. First and foremost, the fact that Yoshiaki Koizumi's experience on this game and what it got right and what it got wrong all contributed towards the development of Super Mario Galaxy. The void levels that we talked about, where you don't have the fluid, a lot of that went into kind of the linear isolated levels of Super Mario Galaxy. And Mario Galaxy's anti-gravity spherical planetoids were taken from Super Mario 128, what we mentioned, the tech demo. So Koizumi was able to cobble together a hugely successful and critically acclaimed Mario game from what he learned based off of Sunshine. So that's pretty dang cool.
Overall, let's break it down for the end here, like we have been doing for years.
Yes.
Would you recommend Mario Sunshine?
I honestly have to say, probably not.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it's trash. It's just like, I would recommend several other 3D Marios first. Like, if you're trying to be a completionist, I mean, of course, you have to play this. But if you just want to play the most fun and fulfilling Mario experiences, I can't put this one right in front of you. I feel like it would not be great, but
so
I don't know.
All right, let's break it down to it. Let's break it down to a 3-point scale here, okay?
Sure.
Skip, play, complete.
Play.
That's
a pretty good system we should introduce going forward. I like that, Josh.
Okay.
Look at Josh reinventing the mold. How about you, Josh? Skip, play, or complete?
Play. I would say play because I think playing with the fluid is a awesome way, and I think the analog controls for it mixed with the GameCube, just graphics, or the Switch, is very, very tight. That's probably the tightest controls that a 3D Mario game actually has, is controlling the fluid. It's really enjoyable, and the game is happy. It is cheerful. It is enjoyable. The world is sweet and great and just fun. And it is a vacation game. And the fact that it's on the Switch, you probably can't buy it anymore right now because they killed Mario a couple months ago.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Never forget Mario. Mario Lopez himself. So, but I mean, I would say play it, at least try it out. It's a good summer game, and I'm happy to go. I've gone back to it, so I don't need the poo-poo on it anymore.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you had a more positive experience than we had last time we discussed the 3D Mario.
Right.
Now, for anyone who may be curious, we will not be covering Mario Galaxy. We're just going to throw this out there. But not only will we not ever be covering it, we are also going to say that that's a game that's, sorry, but it's disqualified from being requested in Extra Life user perks. I'm going to put a pause right here. Do you want to explain why, or should I just leave it?
No, I can do it.
Okay.
Yep.
And Josh, do you want to just be open with why?
Yeah, so I physically can't play the game. It gives me too much motion sickness. I remember I tried it once at a GameStop with Tom, and I almost got so dizzy from playing it that I almost passed out inside of a GameStop because of it. So unfortunately, and I know if maybe Tom does like a one-off video or something like that, if you guys would want that, but that's not a game that we would be able to cover in an episode like this. And I'm very sorry if that disappoints any of the viewers out there, but I believe that my health matters a little bit more than one episode, or technically 2 episodes if we count both games to it. I hear that they're great. You get to be a giant bumblebee, and the second best princess of the Mushroom Kingdom is in that.
She's not even a princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, Josh. She's the queen of space. But yes, unfortunately cannot play. But there will be more 3D Mario talk on this show in the future. And we hope you stick around to find out about it.
Yeah. But until next time, this has been Josh.
And Tom.
And we'll see you in the future. While we boot up the Triflex capacitor, please take some time to subscribe to the show and leave us a review wherever you listen. This show is nothing without you, and any support helps.
If you want to connect with us and discuss the past, present, and future of gaming, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
We also have a Twitch channel where we play games for the show and for fun, so come chat with us anytime.
Thanks again for listening,
and we'll see you in the future.